Today on the Blockchain Report, Bitcoin's back up over 121K, and Donald Trump wants to replace Jerome Too Late Powell with someone who hands out rate cuts like Oprah hands out free cars. Two more companies just went on multi-million-dollar Bitcoin shopping sprees. Elon suing Apple because his chatbot's feelings got hurt. Plus, we'll be joined by two special guests you do not want to miss. All that and more right now on today's show. Let's go. Welcome back and good morning, my Bitcoin brothers and sisters. This is your daily dose of digital drama right here on the Blockchain Report. I'm your host, Hank Hudson, broadcasting live from the Bay Area, where the rent is high, the coffee is overpriced, and pigeons have stronger Wi-Fi than most rural America. Yes, it is Wednesday, that glorious midpoint where you've survived just long enough in the week to start dreaming about Friday, but still have enough work left that your boss can ruin those dreams with a single "got a minute" email? Hate those. Now, before we belly flop into the lukewarm kiddie pool of crypto chaos, let's keep it classy. Hit that like button like it just told you pineapple belongs on pizza, and follow RoxomTV and yours truly at Hank at RoxomTV, because your phone battery isn't going to die from one more tap, and I promise we're more entertaining than your cousin's vacation pics. All right, let's check the vibes, the charts, and the collective emotional instability of today's sentiment in this morning's market rundown. Let's go. All right, it's Wednesday. Let's see how the markets are looking. Am I going to be very happy or very sad? Feeling good right now. Bitcoin looking pretty good. Sitting above that 121K mark. Is the next big move on the horizon? Maybe. We'll talk about it in just a bit. Ethereum also having a bit of a day, sitting above $4,600 a pop, looking good. Vitalik and Mudang are out there celebrating, but don't get too comfy. You got to keep your eye on the prize there, Vitalik. XRP sitting around 324, 325 a token this morning. Cardano's at nearly 87 cents. They're on the upswing. And Dogecoin is sitting at 24 cents a pop, up almost 2.5 percentage points this morning. In the stonks, what do we got? A lot of green grass here as well. The Dow Jones is up nearly 300 points. The Nasdaq Composite sitting at around 21,680. S&P is standing pat around 6,400. MicroStrategy's down about $10 today. Michael Saylor, not his best moment, but he'll be fine. Tesla chilling at 341. Coinbase sitting around 326, 327 a share. Nvidia at 180, and GameStop doing what it does best with it, which is not a lot of much of nothing, at about $23 a pop. All right, so next up on this morning's show, we are going to be joined by our resident chart shark and crypto wunderkind, Luca Pagano, to help us read the tea leaves. But we're going to take a break first. But when we're back, we got Luca, special guests, top stories of the day, and much more right here on the Blockchain Report. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Oh, it's beautiful, Hank. This is not financial advice.
All right, we are back with our resident chart shark to help us read the tea leaves of today's market madness, Luca Pagano. Luca, I've missed you. How are you this morning, my friend? Great to have you back on.
Hey, Hank, it's always amazing to be here, so thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. Luca, right now things are looking pretty good, as Larry David would say. Bitcoin's back around that 121 mark. Ethereum is surging near new all-time highs. What are you seeing in the markets right now? Because while I know it's not financial advice, I need someone to tell me what to do. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm very happy for the market, Hank, because I think, honestly, the last movement has been a blessing for us. We've seen it here happen in real time. We foreseen this pullback. Of course, we're not owners of the future and magicians or anything, but we're just keeping the flow of the market, and it's it's been pretty clean, to be honest, in terms of charts. So yeah, it's always beautiful to see that, and we'll see what the market can give us this week.
Absolutely. And I know right now it's Wednesday. We're in that midpoint of the week. And we're
Yeah.
always looking toward the end of the week to see what we close at, because right now we are very close to new all-time highs of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That all-time high is around 123 right now. We're only $2,000 away. What needs to happen, in your opinion, for us to maybe eclipse that by the end of the week or maybe sometime this weekend?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's a very important question. And we can go through Ethereum and Bitcoin like separately, because I think there are different phases. To be honest, if we see the Bitcoin chart together here, Hank, I think
Yeah, let's bring
we
it up.
clearly got this second wave from $112,000 till pretty much now. So we're waving out there to $121,000, and I think we're at a very, very important level, because what we've seen in specifically in Monday was this reversal, candle, which is to be wary about. I mean, of course, we can never complain when we see the charts like this, because we've seen it go basically for the last days. We've seconded this second wave, from 112 to 120 $1,000. It's 8.5% almost. So it's beautiful to see. But we should be pretty wary on these $120,000, because first of all, I always love to talk about psychological numbers. I think round numbers are always psychological. So it's always important to note that. At least I like to see that way. So that's on the first, like on the one side, but also to add to that, we've had a pretty heavy candle on Monday. I think we're trying, honestly, to cover it. If we can close above $120,000 for me today, that would be a great signal for the markets, to be honest. But we gotta be wary, because for me, if today we have another candle similar to what we've seen on Monday, for me this is signaling a bigger resistance for this, and we may need to revisit the mids, in terms of $115,000 for a pullback and see what happens. So that's what I'm eyeing as the two scenarios. So for me, a closure above $120,000, we're strong, and we should be heading onto those all-time highs. And I love the target of $135,000, so I'm not forgetting about that hang here. But we gotta be wary on if that comes rather sooner than later.
Yeah, no, I love $135,000 price target too. If I get that, I'm putting that down payment on my new submarine. Let's talk about Ethereum here for a second too, because we're finally getting close to the all-time highs of Ethereum, which we saw during the last cycle when Bitcoin was around 69K. Ethereum made it to that $4,800 level, and it makes me wonder, and I would love to get your opinion, do you think there's a lot more room for Ethereum to run right now, given that Bitcoin's currently at its all-time highs that are almost double of the last cycle when Ethereum was at a higher price than it is now? What are the charts for Ethereum telling you currently?
Yeah, I know. That's why I said, I think we're at different phases in that sense. I mean, I see a little bit of a slower Bitcoin and a little bit of a faster Ethereum in that sense. I think honestly, we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, Hank, on the BTC dominance, which we can see in a while very quickly. But honestly, Ethereum is in definitely an accelerating phase. All the way down the peak of bottom on $1,500, all the way to now breaking this range it had, since basically we've been raging since February of 2024. So it's amazing to see that happen. And I think, honestly, already we're not an all-time high yet, but already this accumulation and breakout is liberating for me at least $5,000 and a half, so around the $5,600. For me, it's a very good area for us to target. Of course, we have the all-time high at $4,800, so we got to stay wary of that. And I think honestly, it's a matter of when, not an if, in terms of the all-time high of Ethereum.
Mm-hmm. Well, in your opinion, what do you attribute to this more recent surge for Ethereum? It was down in the doldrums around 1,500 not too long ago. We've seen this meteoric surge since then. Is this a result of some profit taking from those all-time highs we saw of Bitcoin? Is it part of the altcoin hot girl summer that we've been seeing? What do you think is the reason we've been seeing this? Maybe some of these Ethereum treasury companies popping up? Or is it a combination of all those?
Honestly, I think it started as all picker bottom started, and I remember very vividly our conversation of when we were around here, because everyone was so pessimistic. Everyone thought this was going to zero. No one on retail and anything had to do anything, wanted to do anything with Ethereum, right? So for me, that is also very telling of a bottoming market, because what you want in bottoming markets, Hank, is no one wanting anything to do with that coin. And I think that's what we saw very clearly in Ethereum. We've seen in every pivotal bottom of the markets in crypto, but this was so clear to me, at least. Like it's not that we need to handle it we need to target it in the sense of the bottom. What you want to see in these scenarios is the average was to hate Ethereum here, and that makes so much sense to me when thinking of a bottom, because of this psychological event, right? So I think what you've seen here is shorts piling up, which is also a great ingredient for a very nice short squeeze, and I think everything happened in this week where we surged. It was exactly we surged 39% in a week, which was insane. And well, then we all think, we all view what happened. We were watching it here. So for me, the best reversals, Hank, are the ones who don't wait, right? So that's what we've seen here. And I think Ethereum is not done. To be honest, we broke this multi-month range. And for me, we may find some resistance breaking the all-time high. We may wiggle a little bit here, but I think we're going higher, honestly, on Ethereum.
I love to hear it. So to recap today, Bitcoin can hold that 120 level going into the weekend.
Yeah.
We might see some new all-time highs on the horizon, and it sounds like Ethereum's got some room to run. So we might see Vitalik dress up little Moo Dang in some new clothes with his new profits. But we'll see how things play out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Luca, before we let you go today, really quick, for all your chart analysis, where can our audience find you if they want more? Because this morning just wasn't enough. Let them know.
Yeah, you can see me charting at Roxom, Hank, and we'll see how we close today. I think it will be very telling if we have one more pullback or we're ready to push higher. So let's go.
Rock and roll, baby. As always, Luca, thank you for your time. We appreciate you and your chart expertise, and we can't wait to have you back real soon, buddy.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Hank.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we're back, we have our first special guest of the day, and it's a surprise. You won't want to miss it. It'll be right here on the Blockchain Report when we return. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. It's time for this morning's deep dive with our first guest. Now, she is an absolute masterclass in turning vision into impact. She's the Chief Impact Officer at Paystand, where she's driving both their Bitcoin mining unit and the Paystand Foundation's mission to expand financial inclusion all around the globe. Her journey spans from engineering in Colombia to boardrooms in Silicon Valley, from meeting the Dalai Lama to building circular economies with blockchain. And for over 2 decades, she's been breaking barriers and empowering underrepresented communities, especially Latina women in tech, to lead in industries where they've been overlooked. And now she's here with us today. Please give a big Blockchain Report welcome to Alexandra Navarro, everybody. Alexandra, they are so excited to have you here, and so How are we? How are you this morning? Thanks for joining us.
I am very excited to be here. What a cool studios do you guys have. Thank you for having me here.
The pleasure is all ours, Alexandra. We are so excited to have you on the show with us today. You have had an incredibly interesting career arc. I mean, engineering in Colombia, leadership here in the good old US of A, and now blockchain. What's the thread that's tied this incredible journey all together for you?
Oh, well, that could take your whole show, but let me tell you just a brief. Yes, I'm an engineer in Colombia. I came to the US 20-something years ago, where when I landed, it was very difficult to me to open a bank account. It was difficult to be an immigrant, to be a Latina, to send money to my country, to receive money from my country was a mess. Opening the bank account, I think that is something that really messed with me because there are too many documents that they were asking for. It was complicated. Yeah. Well, anyway, so the journey started 20-something years ago from being engineer here to becoming no one here in the United States, to having a great professional career there, and then having surprises here as an immigrant, right? Like many immigrants, all the immigrants here probably have the same situation. But I was very blessed and very committed to break the barriers, not only for me, but for the future of the woman that I believe that we have not only the right, but we deserve a better future. So my career started by selling in a small store all the jewelry that you can see, you know, that we love, to then selling flowers door to door, to then being an analyst in an amazing flower company down in Miami. And then when I came to California, it was such a journey because I really wanted to be supporting more Latinos to become successful. Yeah. And I also wanted to make sure that my own career and my own life was in balance. So I have a breakdown. I have the worst breakdown ever because it was too much, right? I want to be an engineer, but I was a mom, but I was moving to a different place. So the short story is that I took a 1 year sabbatical. I was starting to check what was inside me, that I wanted to become successful and at the same time balancing my life. Yeah. And I traveled United States and the world and study. I did my master's here to write down a book that is called How to Balance Your Life. After I wrote down that book, many things opened inside me, discovering the power to being a woman, the power of technology, the power of believing in myself. And I traveled with my book to Latin America, many companies, talking to people about what I'm telling you, right? Like how to be self-confident, how to believe in your mission, how it's okay to have breakdowns. And moving very fast to what is today, I went to this company, this NGO in California that is called Digital Nest. And I became one of the executives there. Digital Nest is a gorgeous company that supports Latino to go to the technology, people that don't have access to technology and have access to go to the technology after. And I was there for 5 years. I started my career in digital, in technology, in nonprofits there. And after 6 years, I was looking at Silicon Valley and saying, I want to become an executive there. I want to have impact in the world. I want something different. And then I am, of course, for making everything very short, but I discovered this company where I work right now, PayStand. And when I interviewed with the CEO, Jeremy, I told him, I love your company. It's a B2B payment network based on Bitcoin. And I was like, this is really cool. I don't have experience in Bitcoin. I don't have experience in blockchain. But I love that you want to decentralize the financial system and give democratic economy to the world. So how can I be part of this? And he said, well, we have this position as chief of staff. And I said, I love it, but I just don't want to be just help people to be more millionaire. I want to have impact. And he said, this is what we are doing here. We really want to change the world. And I would like you to start the journey with us and see how we can do that together. And after that, we started our foundation, Paystand, and the company keep growing. I keep growing in a company that is really being a disruptor. So it's a long journey because it was me, myself, who didn't have, that financial inclusion and independence with my own money when I came here, to discovering that through Bitcoin, through technology, through believing in yourself, there are many possibilities that you can have, be the owner of your own destiny. And this is why I'm here.
I love that. I mean, your journey is truly the personification of determination and resilience. So it's so inspiring to have you here and learn more about it. And now you mentioned you're at Paystand. Now, a lot of our audience out there, I'm sure they've heard of or used PayPal or Venmo. How would you explain what Paystand does in plain English to people that haven't heard about it before?
I will say two things. Paystand is the biggest B2B payment network based on blockchain and known by the people, which is cool.
Yeah.
Our clients are big companies, like like big enterprises company that they need to operate, and they need all the advantages of Bitcoin, which is free network, fast, expedite, and seamless transactions, right?
Yeah.
So this is what the company is and does. So in simple words for people, Paystand is the PayPal or Venmo for big enterprise companies in the United States and Latam.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. And you wear a couple of hats over at Paystand, right? You're both working with Paystand's Bitcoin mining division and the Paystand Foundation. And on paper, those sound kind of like two very different worlds. What's the overlap there, and how do you juggle both of those things at the same time? That seems like a lot.
You know that this is kind of like my dream, because I am an engineer. I am a industrial production engineer, where at running the mining company is great because I can be an engineer, right? And then my heart is with the impact and making sure that we can change parts of the world that don't have the representation. So having the opportunity to be in both is kind of like migrating from my heart to my brain, and then from my brain to my heart, and that actually gives me balance. So I love it. How is that? Is very busy. I have to juggle from one to the other one during the day. I have a great team. We have a great company. We have great people working with us, which is very important. And both are equally important for two reasons. Why Bitcoin mining? Our infrastructure, our network is based on Bitcoin, which means that we need to make sure not only that we yield Bitcoin, but also that we can be part of the transactions, right? Like the network, that is the mining part. And the other part is the foundation, which we basically support around 14 countries around the world with more than 25 NGOs and projects, accelerating Bitcoin circular economies in underrepresented communities. So it's cool. I can't say that it's not cool. My job is so cool.
That's so cool. I mean, wow, it must be so empowering for, especially like women in the Latin American community to see someone like you rise up through the ranks and get to these two amazing positions. Like, you are literally inspiring the next generation of young women just like you. How does that feel? Do you feel like a sense of responsibility?
That's exactly why I came to US. I wanted to create a bridge from Latin America and United States. No more bias about we can make it. And when I see myself today, I see the responsibility that you were talking about. Number one, for my kids. I have 3 kids. And number 2, for other women, that they should be able to say, if she can make this happen, I can make further things happen.
That's amazing.
That's what I want.
Oh
yes, we women, we can become engineers. Yes, we women, we can be in Silicon Valley. Yes, we can be disruptors. Yes, we can do impact. Yes, we have the responsibility to support our society and to make the change.
Right.
It's not easy, but it's fun when you enjoy the journey.
Yeah, I imagine. It's always, you can always make a greater impact when you really love what you're doing. And it's clear it is just radiating out of you the joy that you get inspiring people and doing the work that you're doing. But you also mentioned you weren't always in the Bitcoin mining arena, right? And so it begs the question for me. I'm sure that you've heard there's been plenty of talk about Bitcoin mining not being good for the environment. It's a big energy hog. How do you at Paystan go about making the Bitcoin mining sustainable and more environmentally friendly while also being profitable at the same time? That seems like a tall task.
It is, and actually I know that was the story, and there are many other stories that basically said that this is not true. But what is important to us at Paystan is that we make sure that we work with hydroelectrical powers, for example, and with energy that is reusable and secure, and that is actually supporting the RIC to give more energy, for example, to underrepresented communities. There is one simple example for the audience that I want to share. There is one country in Latam that we work with them. They don't have enough electricity to give to underrepresented towns. So we make sure that with our power, the power that we buy, we get into the curtailment. Curtailment means that the government has the right to turn off the lights, the power. Our miners don't mine, but we are giving the stability to the grid to give electricity to those underrepresented communities. So it's a win-win, because there are many underrepresented communities that don't have electricity, and the grids don't have the power to run the electricity for 24/7, right? So with us, we buy that electricity plus, and we are able to turn off our miners. So they win, the government win, and we win.
Wow,
that's
a win-win-win, actually. That's the best kind. I love it.
Yeah.
And outside of the mining too, you also help with run the Paystan Foundation, right? And you're tackling financial inclusion there. Can you share a real-world story where you saw that mission actually change someone's life?
Well, I'm going to tell you one that is happening right now. I want to tell you two, if it's okay for you.
Yeah, you got the time, please.
So one is right now we are in Colombia. Our team is in Colombia with the Arahuacos. The Arahuacos are indigents that are in mountains far from the cities. When we met them, they said, money is just for you people. You people are all about money. They see money as dark. Because everything is about money, and money is expensive, and inflation affects the world, right? Especially them. So we kind of like orange pilled them about what is Bitcoin and what will be good for your community to use it. And after a year, they went to Peru, where Bitcoin is not a myth. Bitcoin is used by indigents and many communities outside Lima. And they were super excited learning how Bitcoin is not a cryptocurrency, is not blockchain, because they don't understand about that. It's about the values of freedom, of inclusion, and about simplicity, right?
Yeah.
So they start using it between the communities, and then a couple of weeks after, they call our foundation and say, we have 70 people in different communities, leaders in communities that they want to learn about Bitcoin. So we were able to bring My First Bitcoin, who is an NGO that we support, with the Arahuacos through another organization, another NGO that is called Tras la Perla in Colombia. And the three of them are today there training 70 leaders, indigenous leaders, about how they can use Bitcoin as circular economies and keep having the right of financial inclusion. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
It's amazing. They just sent me pictures today. They were like, Alexandra, we are having so much fun. The other story that I love, well, I love too many stories, but it's in Peru, where we work with Motif. Motif is an NGO down there. Valentin is the CEO, a person that we respect and love. And he's been able to not only train and help communities to use Bitcoin, but the human trafficking is decreasing on women. You know, like
Yeah.
when women had the power to have their financial inclusion and the power to control what is in their lives, they are able to be the provider for their families, so they don't expose themselves to things that happen in the world, right?
Right.
So he's being able to make the change, not only accelerating circular economy, Bitcoin inclusion, but also decreasing problems that are actually in the real world. Like I had mentioned before, human trafficking and ignorance about the power to have financial inclusion. And the nice story is that our team is going in a month to volunteer. We are bringing 20 people from our own company. Every year we do that.
Wow.
Yeah. And we are all going to put shoes on the kids that we are going to help. We are going to be able to take trash back. We are going to be able to train on Bitcoin. We're going to be able to be with communities that really have needs, not only to learn about Bitcoin, but also to have support in many other ways. And our volunteers, our staff is very excited to go there for first time.
Yeah, I bet.
Right?
Wow. I mean, no wonder you love your job so much. It's like, it's a perfect combination of doing what you're good at and what you love to do, and then actually helping and inspiring other people to do the same in their own lives. Like, that sounds incredibly fulfilling.
It is, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't want to change myself.
We don't want it either. We don't want that either. And what I loved about the stories you told, and you're obviously a very gifted storyteller just by those alone. I mean, you host your own podcast, right? The Redefine podcast, is that correct?
Redefine is our CEO podcast.
Okay, yeah.
Last time I had the pleasure to co-host with him.
Okay, I mean,
And
you
I'll
got
help
the
him
gift.
with everything.
I bet. And, you know, storytelling is such a powerful tool to connect human beings across, you know, borders, cultures, languages, whatnot. How does that podcast actually help push Paystan's mission forward? Is it through stories just like this?
It's incredible, and it's really cool because the podcast started probably 2 years ago with a few people in the audience. And the audience at the beginning was more VCs and people in Silicon Valley, that kind of world. And right now, the podcast has thousands of followers and viewers, and is growing. And when we travel, I was mentioning to you that we are going to Hong Kong, so we are bringing the podcast studio there. And it's bringing, as you were saying, more people towards what is blockchain, what is Web 3.0, what is Paystan, where is the world leading towards, with people that just don't know, and it's okay to don't know wherever you are. It doesn't matter if you are a VC, it doesn't matter if you are an indigent in Peru, it doesn't matter if you are assisting for first time in a conference. That's the goal, to have Bitcoin, blockchain, and technology to better knowledge of people around the world.
Yeah, I mean, knowledge literally is power, as the old saying goes, and you're literally empowering a whole new generation of people. And it sounds like through that podcast that you've co-hosted as well, you're doing a pretty darn good job of that if you got thousands of listeners, you know, for your show. And, you know, the impact is a big word these days, right? And it sounds like you're having that across the globe, and it can mean a lot of things. At Paystan, though, what are the metrics or the results that tell you that we are making a difference in the world today? What does that look like for you guys?
Wow, it's different departments. So I want to talk a little bit about Paystan. Paystan being a big company, it's a holding group. So one is AP, which means payments for big companies. The other one is receivable, meaning getting paid your invoices. So for example, we have a corporate expense card where our expense card points are in Satoshis. How cool, right?
Yeah.
So you're running in the network, on the Bitcoin network, and on top of everything, you have Satoshis in reward. So results there are to make sure that people understand that every company has the right to have payments and receivables and invoices in the Bitcoin network. So we measure everything by results, by numbers.
Yeah.
So our company is growing fast. I will say that we process 2% of the volume payments in United States, which is kind of good. Big.
Not bad.
We are going to the path to IPO. Probably, I don't know if the CEO is listening to that, but It's not a secret. We are working very hard to double our numbers and our revenue. So this is kind of like in the pace, and it's a company as is technology that work fast, is very aggressive in numbers, and I love that because thanks to that, they give to the foundation 1% of the profit, and then we are able to donate to the people with the NGOs that we support. So it's it's a win-win for everybody. The company works hard, but it's thanks to all the employees that are working there that we are able to support more than 25 NGOs around the world.
Yeah.
And we have in the group, we have other companies. We have in Latam, they have their own results. The mining facilities and the mining department is growing super fast. We just a few numbers. We have numbers that are aggressive. We have to make sure that we are efficient.
Sure.
So it's kind of a cool mix of being very aggressive in numbers, which I love because we want to grow, but also being very aggressive and generous in the way that we give back to the community.
Yeah, and we want to bring up your X profile here. As I want to talk about, I guess you have some cool photos from Colombia and Bali where your impact can actually be seen. Can we bring those up, guys? So tell us about what we're seeing here on the screen. What do we have here?
Yeah, we went to Bitcoin Indonesia in Bali, which is a very interesting community. I can tell you a short story. We are there with Jeremy, the CEO, and with the team. The whole team is not there, but we are with the Indonesia team. And Indonesia is beautiful. I don't know if you have been there.
I have. I love Ubud, actually.
It's gorgeous. Everything
Love
there
it.
is gorgeous. And the people is so gorgeous. But on the other hand, we all know that Indonesia has many financial, challenges, right?
Course, yeah.
And after visiting that place, I found this young woman. She was probably 20 years. And I asked her, are you already coming to this Bitcoin Indonesia house? And do you know about Bitcoin? And she said, no, can you please tell me about that? And I said, just tell me the way what are your dreams? And she said, my dream is to be able to visit this island in Indonesia, and the ticket is $200. So I'm gonna say for 2 years, to be able to visit my mom in 2 years. And I said, can I ask you how much how is your income? How do you send money? And she said, well, it's too much. I have a great salary. My salary is $200 per month. And I was kind of in shock, right? Like saving 2 years to pay a ticket for $50. Sending money to her mom was 30% of transaction fees.
Right.
And on top of everything, she was working 15 hours per day. So non-stopping, 7 days per week. So it's like a lot, right? So I am like, this is a gorgeous place where thanks God Bitcoin Indonesia house is doing a great job, but we need to expand this to more people. So I just went to her and I helped her to open her wallet, and I told her how easy it will be for your family. I sent to my family money in Bitcoin because it's easy, it's faster, and it doesn't matter the inflation. So all of this to say that in Indonesia, they are doing an amazing job. They have a conference down there in September.
Oh, nice.
It's gonna be, I forgot the days. I think that is September 6th and September the 7th. We are gonna have a woman in Bitcoin brunch where more women is gonna be able to attend and to know and to ask any questions. I always tell women, don't worry to think we women are now in this world, so I don't want to make stupid questions. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel fine on a space where you can even ask stupid questions, and they are not stupid questions at all.
Absolutely. I used to have a teacher that always said, you can ask a question and be a fool for 5 minutes. You cannot ask that question and be a fool for your entire life.
Exactly.
So it's always important to have that space where people feel comfortable asking questions, because that's the only way you learn, right? And I didn't know there was a Bitcoin event in Bali. Guys, if we can get me an invite to that would be great.
Absolutely.
September 5th, that's right around my birthday. Come on, Roxom, let's get it. Invite me there. So I want to talk a little bit more about Paystand here, Alexandra. You know, in the next 5 years, what is the vision like for Paystand, and what does success to you and the company look like in 5 years? What are you hoping to achieve, and what have you done to the world, or done more to the world, or impacted the world more than you already have in, currently?
Wow, this is a big question.
Yeah.
I would love to ask the CEO what is his vision, but I
Yeah.
can tell you my vision.
Okay. What's your vision? What would you hope?
The vision is that we are IPO,
Okay, it's a good one.
probably in the next 2 to 3 years. So in 5 years, we are already passing that moment.
Yeah.
We have right now, as I mentioned to you before, we have some holding companies that work to LATAM and here in the US and the foundation. So I really hope that we have more companies that believe in Bitcoin working with us that just expand to the world.
Yeah.
I really want to not only be in US, but I really think that we are in the next 5 years to be in the entire world helping with Bitcoin other companies to grow. I really hope that what our company does, that is to have Bitcoin around our company being other corporations in other worlds. In our company right now, we receive our salary if we want in Bitcoin, our bonus in Bitcoin. We have the possibility to help others with the foundation. We have our infrastructure in Bitcoin. We have our network in Bitcoin. So we are a full spectrum of Bitcoin. I really want for more companies in the world to have the inspiration and be as we are. If Paystand can do this and inspire 400 employees, other companies can do that. Well, we're going to keep growing. So we are big. We are doubling every year.
Wow.
Every year doubling. So I really hope that in the next years we keep doubling that number.
Yeah.
And I really hope that Bitcoin is not only an asset in treasury, which is at Paystand right now, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But also to help others to start using it.
Yeah.
Because treasury is the first step, but we
Yes.
need to start using it to really build the network.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of us, myself is included in this, got into the Bitcoin space back when for financial reasons, but the more information you get on it when you do your research, you learn that it's really something that's just going to make the world a better place for all of us in so many different ways. And it's so inspiring to have someone like you helping lead that charge for the greater good. And we really have appreciated you and all of your time today. I know our time is running short here, but before we let you go, is there anything we haven't talked about today about you or Paystand or your mission that you would like our audience out there to be aware of?
Yeah, I think that, well, many things. Thank you for this question. Bitcoin is the future,
Yep.
is the present, and is the future. In our company, our CEO believes in Bitcoin since the beginning, since 2011, and our company was built in that network. If you want to take a look of our company, paystand.com is great. If your company needs payments to be faster, transparent, and with no intermediaries, this is our company. If your company needs a credit card with Satoshis and expense dashboard that makes your life easier, this is us. If your company is in LATAM and you want to have expense and payables easier for your company, this is us. If you are mining, you have hosting facility, energy, and miners that you want to partner directly with my department, I am very happy. We are expanding to other countries right now. If you want to donate to paystand.org or be part of our foundation that has no agenda behind, is basically supporting circular economies, just talk to us because there are too many opportunities. Or if you just want to lead by example in your company, supporting others through Bitcoin, let's make sure that we do this together. I love about Bitcoin that Bitcoin is a community. It's
Yeah.
a community of people that travels together, that likes to support each other. I will say that we are the only corporation in America that is not only treasuring or having their product and supporting, but also is looking to expand. We have a whole team looking for supporting others and keep growing. So Bitcoin, again, is the present and is the future. And for women, I am not the only woman. We have a group, an amazing group of women in the whole world. We run meetups, we run events all over the world. You are not alone. We have many women who are looking for learning about what is Bitcoin, learning how to, if I need to be an engineer or not. You don't need to be an engineer. You don't need to be in the United States. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be poor. You just need to believe in freedom, in democracy, in financial inclusion. And if I could do this, you can do this too.
I love it. I love it. And pay stand aside, you, Alexandra, are so interesting, and I'm sure there are more people out there like me that want to learn more about you and maybe want to even get in touch with you. What's the best way? Is there an X account they can follow to see everything you're up to? And, you know, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, my email, alexandra@paystand.org. Just email me. For us women, it's easier to do that. LinkedIn, X, just make sure that you reach out. Never, ever, ever stop asking for help. And I love to support others.
We love it. And we loved having you here today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for what you guys are doing.
This was such a pleasure. I mean, really, it was. And again, you heard it from the mouth of the woman herself. She is changing the world one Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining facility and person at a time. So make sure to check out Alexandra Navarro on all the platforms out there. X, give her an email. She provided it earlier. We're going to take a quick break, but when we're back, we got more blockchain report coming up. So stay tuned. We'll see you in just a few.
Security matters. Zappo Bank, the only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
All right, we're back. Alexandra Navarro, wasn't she great? Make sure to check her out over on X and on LinkedIn and on the Twitters and all that good stuff. She's wonderful, doing a lot of good things. So we appreciate having her on the show today. Let's get into it with this morning's bull run, though. We got a lot to cover as Bitcoin nearly touched its all-time high of 123K this week before pulling back because nothing kills the mood quite like being told you're almost there. Ugh, that one hits a little close to home. But that pullback didn't last long. Enter stage left, President Donald Trump. The president lobbed a $12.2 trillion crypto cannon shot into the markets, and suddenly Bitcoin's back near 121K, Ethereum's knocking on 5,000, Solana's up 15%, even Dogecoin is moving 12%, and the entire crypto market just blew past $4.1 trillion. It's the kind of move that makes you wish your retirement account had a 100% crypto button. And what lit the fuse for all of this? Well, a fresh U.S. inflation report gave the Federal Reserve the green light to finally cut interest rates in September, with markets now pricing in a 96% chance of a 25 basis point cut. Now, Trump, who's been in an ongoing cage match with Fed Chair Jerome Too Late Powell, pounced on the news and let Powell have it on a Truth Social post. Let's bring it up here really quick. The post said, Jerome Too Late Powell must now lower the rate. Steve Mnuchin really gave me a beauty when he pushed this loser. The damage he has done by always being too late is incalculable. Fortunately, the economy is so good that we've blown through Powell and the complacent board. I am, though, considering allowing a major lawsuit against Powell to proceed because of the horrible and grossly incompetent job he has done managing the construction of the Fed buildings. $3 billion for a job that should have been a $50 million fix-up. Not good. Well, Don was as subtle as a sledgehammer with that one, and the White House even confirmed Trump is considering suing Powell over a Fed building renovation project because apparently nothing says monetary policy quite like an angry Yelp review for government construction costs. Regardless, traders loved it. There's the review. He didn't like it. Surprised he gave it the 4-star rating, though. Traders loved it, though. Bitcoin popped 2% on the day. Altcoins pumped harder, and Ethereum's now outpacing Bitcoin as people start whispering the two most dangerous words in crypto, altcoin season. Now, the bigger picture here, though, is if the Fed actually cuts rates in September and Trump gets his wish for a Powell replacement who treats interest rates like clearance sales, we could be looking at the exact conditions for another Bitcoin all-time high before the year's out, and the only Fed policy in history that traders screenshot for the memes instead of the data. And Trump Media and Technology Group is back in the news. Of course, they are the parent company of Truth Social, and they are making its first move into the cryptocurrency market. They've filed the First Amendment to their registration statement with the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission for something called the Truth Social Bitcoin ETF. The goal? Hold Bitcoin directly and track its price performance. And because this is Wall Street, the whole thing hinges on getting a green light from the SEC. Now, if approved, shares of the ETF will be listed on the New York Stock Exchange ARCA. Crypto.com is playing triple duty here, acting as a custodian, trade execution agent, and liquidity provider. Trump Media says the choice was strategic, pointing to Crypto.com's industry reputation and operational expertise. The company's pitch is that this partnership will make the ETF both secure and operationally sound. Now, this is all part of Trump's media's broader expansion play. They've already rolled out the Truth Plus streaming platform and the Truth.fi financial services brand. Now, they want to offer investors direct Bitcoin exposure through a regulated investment product. And they're jumping into a market that's seeing increased demand for exactly that. The regulatory path is straightforward on paper, but only if the SEC cooperates. The Commission must declare the registration effective, and the Form 19B-4 filing must get its own approval before the ETF can trade on the New York Stock Exchange ARCA. Now, the SEC has recently sped up ETF reviews, cutting timelines from 240 days to 75 days for applications that meet the standards. Still, the crypto ETF market has its landmines. BlackRock, for example, recently withdrew its XRP ETF filing because of regulatory uncertainty, even after the SEC settled with Ripple Labs. That's a reminder that while Bitcoin ETFs have momentum, the rest of the crypto ETF universe is still a bit of a minefield. Now, if the Truth Social Bitcoin ETF gets approved, it would be a milestone for the Trump media and potentially a precedent for other crypto ETFs. It would also hand institutional investors another regulated on-ramp to Bitcoin, which could drive adoption among more conservative players who've been sitting on the sidelines. But for now, it's all up to the SEC. If they say yes, Trump Media goes from running a social media platform to running a Bitcoin ETF with Crypto.com in its corner. If they say no, well, it's back to streaming, memes, and wondering what could have been. We're taking a break, but when we're back, we're going to have our second guest of the day. You'll want to stay tuned. Don't miss it. More Blockchain Report coming right back. All right, we are back with our second deep dive into the day. It has been quite the treat. And our next guest is a true builder in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Someone who doesn't just talk about the future of money, but actually helps build it. He's the CEO of Thesis, the team behind projects like TBTC and Meso, and a longtime contributor to the open source decentralized future we all want to see. He's sharp, he's thoughtful, and he's back in the trenches with one of the boldest visions in Bitcoin. So let's give a big Blockchain Report welcome to the one and only Matt LUONGO. Matt, welcome to the show. And the audience loves you, and we are super excited to have you here. How are you this morning? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Hank. How you doing?
I am doing well. It's Wednesday, Bitcoin's riding high. I don't have a lot to complain about, and I'm super excited to chat with you today. But before we get into it, Matt, for anyone in our audience who hasn't come across your work yet, how do you usually describe what you do, and what is Thesis all about? Give us the lowdown.
Yeah. So we are Bitcoin builders. We launched Fold way back in the day. We started it in 2014. It's a Bitcoin-backed rewards card. That recently went public this year. And since then, we're just following this mission of how can we make Bitcoin useful, not just for.
Sorry about that little breaking. We had this bird that got in the studio not too long ago, and I'm pretty sure it's been chewing on the fiber optic cables in the walls. But we got Matt back, and we're going to dive right back into his journey. Matt, you can hear me okay?
I can. Glad you took care of the bird.
All right. Sorry about that.
Very important.
Yeah, I know. Those sparrows are really pesky and persistent. So we were talking about, before we got interrupted there, the thesis, and you guys, like a lot of Bitcoiners out there that are changing the world, are really, anyone who's doing the Bitcoin thing seems to be doing it for similar reasons. You're trying to help people and the monetary and fiscal futures of people through this like decentralized network so that we're not getting killed by inflation all the time. And I want to talk a little bit about your journey, because you have an interesting one. From Georgia Tech to the CEO of a crypto venture studio. Can you walk us through that a little bit? And like, what were the inflection points that kind of defined your journey along the way?
Yeah. So look, I have good reasons for founding companies and bad reasons, right? One of the bad reasons is I really suffer working for fools. It's just hard. It's hard to be an employee. And actually, I say that my managers have been great, the few jobs I've had, but it's just like, it's really hard to not have your skin in the game. So I've always known I'm a startup guy. That was my plan out of college, to do pretty quickly once I got a little bit of experience, and that's what I did. But you know, what actually happened and got me into Bitcoin is I had this side hustle while I was working at a different startup, shortly out of school. And that hustle was buying and selling gift cards. And I realized a lot of people have gift cards in their drawers and they don't need them, and they will accept pennies on the dollar for them. And so I was like, okay, well, what if I did that on the internet? And it started out great. I was making a really good margin, and then I got deplatformed by PayPal. So this was late 2013. And so actually, even though, you know, I can have the sort of like Austrian economics conversations with the best of them, what got me here was I got deplatformed. And so I was like, okay, well, it wasn't, you know, today you have so many options for payments, but it's like, well, I'm going to try this Bitcoin thing. It sounds interesting. So I had never bought BTC. I hadn't even used the Silk Road. I didn't do any of the things that people from that vintage usually say. I got deplatformed and I needed to pay users. And so I switched from PayPal to Bitcoin, and in the first 2 days, we did $50,000 in volume, and people who were like, please God, buy my gift card so I can buy Bitcoin. And so it was interesting because then I went from deplatformed to accidentally debanked. Banks no longer wanted to work with me. I had to figure out how to get money to things like, to Japan from Mt. Gox. I had to figure out how to do bonds and like money, just all sorts of like instruments that I'd never touched before because I was just a normal dude with a normal bank account. And suddenly I was dealing in this like edge of finance. And so that was how I learned that Bitcoin is valuable, was not talking about the money printer, which I think is long-term value, but it was the short-term, which is like someone tried to stop my livelihood. And of course now PayPal is part of the industry, but yeah.
That's wild. And man, I'm really sad to hear you got deplatformed too. My mom keeps sending me these Baskin Robbins gift cards, and I never even eat ice cream. I got like $300 worth of them, and I got nothing to do with them. So I'm sad to say I can't use your former platform.
Well, gift cards are tough. There's a whole story there. Yeah, it's like, trust me, if you want to get rid of them, there's a way to get crypto. It's just going to take you a little bit longer than it used to in 2013, 2014.
All right, I'll have to look into that. But it led you here. So I want to talk about thesis. And for our audience out there that's not familiar with it yet, what is thesis and why does it matter in the world of Bitcoin?
Sure. So we're a bunch of shadowy supercoders. I think until recently, thesis it's an if you know brand, right? So we've launched products that people know. Fold was the first. TBTC is another. Tahoe is a fairly popular wallet. And then we recently bought Mezzo, which is a big one, but then we recently also bought Lolly, which is an early Bitcoin rewards platform that actually was competing with Fold. And, you know, so for a long time, it hasn't mattered who thesis is because we try to speak through our products. But I think what I'm seeing is as the space matures, a lot of my conversations now are with bankers and people who are in traditional finance, because what we want to do is we want to be that bridge. We want to help people who bought the ETF, bought MicroStrategy. It's like, now, okay, can we bring you on chain? And so I see our goal as really making that top of funnel for Bitcoin wider and then helping people bring them down to run their own financial lives.
That's amazing. And you mentioned Lolly, the Bitcoin rewards app. What made that deal something you just felt like you had to do?
Well, okay, so there's a little bit of I've just been a huge fan, you know, as a user. I mean, as a competitor for years, and then as a user myself. So I'm a huge fan of what they built over the years. Lolly, similar to Fold, has made new Bitcoiners. It's helped people who maybe weren't ready to make a big purchase for BTC earn their way in. And I think that's beautiful. I don't think, sometimes I think BTC is nominal. People think Bitcoin's for rich people because one Bitcoin is worth a lot of money. But it's like you can earn cents by looking at ads online. You can earn cents by shopping at different stores. And I think that's kind of the way that it should be. We shouldn't have advertisers preying on us. We should be getting paid by these people for what we do. So I'm a huge fan of that vision of the internet and what Alex and the team had done. And I just felt like, okay, well, we took Fold public. I mean, Will did most of the work, but I was part of it. Can we do something similar with Lolly? How can we take Lolly from, an OG Bitcoin favorite to something that is really pushing the boundaries today? And so that's one of the big things Thesis is working on right now.
That's incredible. And you mentioned, wanting to get more people to adopt Bitcoin, and products like that give you rewards in Bitcoin, I think is such an important thing in helping get rid of that so-called unit bias that we're seeing, especially right now with retail, right? Everyone's seeing $120,000 Bitcoin. I've missed out. But if you scale back, and
we have so much further to go.
Bitcoin, right. If it goes to 1 million, that's a 10x gain over the next 10 years. You talk to anyone in TradFi and say, I got a stock that's going to 10x in 10 years.
That's
They're
right.
Be like, take my money.
It's funny.
Just one. Go ahead.
No. It's the entire. So the hard thing about Bitcoin, I feel like sometimes is everyone wants to make money, and that's not wrong. People want to make money. That's fine. Some people realize they don't want their money taken from them, and that's great. But I think what people are struggling with is, as Bitcoin becomes bigger and bigger, you have more cryptocurrencies. You have, we had all of 2020 and 2021. We had meme stocks became a thing. We just had a whole bunch of people in the space only to get slaughtered by meme coins. That was really depressing actually to watch, and kind of like changed this entire cycle. And it's like, so everyone wants to make quick money, and I get that. But wouldn't it be good to make slow money that doesn't go away and that doesn't disappear? And so I think that's the thing with Bitcoin. Some people, it's funny, you can say, oh, it's only going to 1 million. There's not a lot of room to grow. That's insane. If you change your life, if you're okay with saving and you're okay with taking 2-4 years to grow your savings, Bitcoin is a great opportunity. And I think we're going to see it gobble up more and more of these global currencies. And the people who are looking for the fast buck, and I mean really fast, like day trade fast, I think some of them are they're ended up missing out. And you see crypto Twitter now, Bitcoin's up at 120,000. Crypto Twitter's like, I don't feel that good, until they see alts. So I think that was a big lesson for me in this space is, the gambling, a lot of people show up because that's what they're interested in, but you stick around because you realize, well, yeah, I do want my retirement fund, my safety, my savings account. And that's what Bitcoin is.
Yeah, it's almost like Bitcoin's kind of become a victim of its past successes a little bit.
That's exactly
Initially,
right.
It was associated with those meteoric rises that we now see in these, shit coins everywhere. But it's like now it's the most, it's really actually a very conservative play within the space, but certainly a lot better than putting your money in the S&P and getting 7 to 11% over a year, where it takes 7 years for it to double.
Exactly.
Right.
No, well put. Yeah, it's like Bitcoin is about fighting the money printer, but then the invention of Bitcoin led to more money printers, and so it's just a funny trade-off. And I think the smart money that will play in crypto and that will trade and do things like that, they're going to try to earn elsewhere, and then they save in Bitcoin. Smart TradFi puts their money into Bitcoin. So I think if you're interested in getting into the space, but you maybe don't think you have an edge over the millions of other people trying to make a quick buck, and hence you probably don't, try something like Lolly. Try something where it's like, okay, I've earned 10, 20, 30, a few $100s here, and in a few years that's gone up way faster than my stock portfolio.
Yeah, and products like that are just so important to helping get people acclimated and ingratiate them into the system that is still foreign to the majority of the population, even though it's been around for 15 or 16 years. And we have BlackRock. BlackRock is out there buying it up for their own IBIT. It's just, I guess it always takes people to wrap their heads around and fully trust new technology. But as we've seen, it's always up and to the right when you scale back. So.
Exactly.
And you mentioned Lolly again, and I would love to get into some of your other products out there, specifically Meso. Can you explain that to me in kind of your grandma version?
I can.
What is it?
Yeah,
and why is it such a big deal for Bitcoin's future?
Sure. So the way that I would think about Mezzo is it's a Bitcoin bank. So this is an old idea, um, and the idea is I think this is like Hal Finney back in 2009, 2010 Bitcoin talk forum. So this is a very, very early idea, but the idea is straightforward. Okay, Bitcoin grows and it grows and it grows. It takes over more and more of the world's economy. We still need small other currencies. We still need places where you can deposit your money and maybe you can earn some yield because they lend it. We still need, kind of all of these financial services, but they should be built atop Bitcoin. And that's the idea with Mezzo. The idea is that, we're not telling you you should spend your Bitcoin. It's like people don't really want to. People are interested in using the technology. If you want to look at Stake and Shake, what they've done with Lightning and USDT has been killer. But people don't really want to spend their Bitcoin because you don't want to be the next person who's like, oh yeah, I bought a pizza and now that's a fortune. You don't want to be the next pizza guy. And so yeah, so the idea with Meso is let's build an on-chain bank for Bitcoiners. You should be able to go finance your home from your Bitcoin. You shouldn't have to ask anyone permission. You should be able to live your entire financial life the way you do with Bitcoin, without getting on a phone unless you want to, without asking someone pretty please. So that's what we're building in Meso.
I love that. And nobody wants to be the pizza guy, both literally and figuratively in the Bitcoin sense.
It's hard.
Well
Listen,
put, well
Fold,
put.
we've had people spend over $500 million on coffee from Fold's early days as a payment platform. And it's like, you hate to see it. Now, no one's like texting me like, you jerk, I missed out on generational wealth. But like, when I do the numbers, I'm like, maybe let's stick with helping people earn Bitcoin rather than spend it.
I hope they were some good beans, at least. That's an expensive cup of joe. But you kind of mentioned something that I want to touch on here about people spending Bitcoin, right? Like you have people like Jack Dorsey out there that are saying it is imperative for us to
Jack
be
and I
using
disagree.
Bitcoin and right. But you have said you want 25% of the world's economy running on Bitcoin, which would be huge. Do you think that would require people to start using it more frequently as a payment? Or is there another avenue there? What do you think?
Yeah. So let me, I'll go right for Jack and then also address that, right? So this idea that, and I don't ever want to sound like I'm short on entrepreneurs trying to build something. It's just that I've done this payments thing. This is what we did with Fold. That gift card business I talked about getting debanked for, it became Fold. And initially we focused on in-store payments. So in 2014, you were able to pay in store at Starbucks and Target and a couple other US retailers with your Bitcoin. And people did it. And then now they regret it. And there are all these questions. What's my tax situation? It became like a very difficult thing. And so I think there's this contingent of people that are like, no. What's holding us back is the technology. If Lightning is this much better, or if this, or if this, or if this, or if this, people will spend their Bitcoin. And maybe. I don't have any evidence of that, on-chain or off, that people want to spend their Bitcoin. And I don't think it's just because, my capital gains tax. There's a really big core economic idea. Like if you care about this stuff, here it is, called Gresham's Law. If I have $1 in my pocket, that's a paper bill, and if I have a dollar coin, the dollar coin goes out of circulation. People hold them, they stick them under their mattresses, they do whatever. They put them in piggy banks, right? And the dollar, you spend it. And this has been going on since Babylonian times. This is not a new thing. It got its name in the 1400s, but this has been going on since ancient times. And so I look at this and I'm like, okay, if I have Bitcoin in one pocket and USD in another, which one do I want to get out? And I'm going to get out the USD. I'm going to throw it at people because I don't want them to touch my Bitcoin. And so I had that object lesson as my career because I helped a whole bunch of people spend their Bitcoin. And then we all watched the number go up and it's like, well, I hope you replaced what you spent. So I think the way that I look at it is, well, what if we could replace the US dollar with something backed by Bitcoin? And that's where I see Mezzo coming in. Like, let's have these stable coins that are backed by Bitcoin. They're Bitcoin banks. You can get loans against your Bitcoin. So you're avoiding taxes. But really you're avoiding making a huge financial mistake, which is having less Bitcoin than you should have.
Yeah, amazing. And what I love about having someone like you on the show, Matt, is as a serial entrepreneur and founder, I'm always interested in how you go about selecting ideas to actually run with. I'm sure your pitch stuff all the time. Like, what is your North Star or like gut check for when you're deciding what's actually worth building?
So I wish I could say I was better than like, would I use it? And I've said no to some really great products that have done very well because because I wasn't the user. But a lot of this comes down to me, you know, for Mezzo, I tried to finance my home with Bitcoin 3 different times. First time I tried was 2018, and the lender was like, yeah, I love Bitcoin. Come on in. Step to my office, closes the door, and they're like, okay, sell your Bitcoin and come back in 30 days. I won't tell anyone. We won't talk about fluff. I'm like, whoa. This sounds sketchy. And you know, it's like, well, yeah, it was sketchy. It was like some sort of like, you know, scheme. And it's like, okay, that's weird. That's not what I meant. I meant I have hard money. Shouldn't I get a better rate? Shouldn't I be able to use this collateral? So then we go on.
Yeah.
And in 2020, I tried to do the same thing. And we had launched TBTC, so we had launched a product that I thought could help. Wasn't enough liquidity. It was still too early. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this again. So I come back in 2024, and now I take my Bitcoin, I put it in TBTC, I borrow USDC against it, I put half the house like in cash down. So that's pretty cool. I didn't have to ask anyone. I didn't have to explain it to anyone. But the one thing that was missing is my rate. So now my rate fluctuates based on how long people want to be, because this is how DeFi works, right? So like Bitcoiners usually don't know a lot about like raw DeFi stuff. They're not often on Ethereum and Solana, but the ones that are know, well, your rate will completely change based on if other people are trading and, you know, whatever their stuff is. So the idea with Mezzo is, well, can we give people fixed predictable rates? And that's what it does. So right now we have a 1% like introductory rate on Mezzo where it's a fixed rate open term. And so I'm getting ready to refinance my house right now. And yeah, so I think that's kind of how I choose. Like, could I see myself using that? Do I get excited about it? And then as I'm getting older, I guess the next way I'm looking at things is like, would my children use that? Because that's starting to be a helpful way to look at new products as well. Like, yeah, they're not going to finance their house, but like they like video games a lot. So
yeah. Well, you know, once the new GTA 6 finally comes out and they start integrating crypto payments in there, which it sounds like might happen, it's game over and everybody's going to be on board. I don't think people realize how big that's going to be for it.
That is going to be huge. But speaking of GTA 6, my kids think like around 6. We had a birthday party recently where we were like, oh, guys, don't worry. It's only going to be e-games. Somebody pulls up Grand Theft Auto. I had to dive across the room to like, no, please, God, don't. I don't want to have all the parents like hate me forever. So yeah, they're not quite to GTA age, but soon.
Don't let that lady with the short skirt in your car. You don't want to know what happens next. You know?
Yeah, I'm like, you're going to learn, like just from the title screen, you're going to learn so much, but I can't, not on my watch.
Oh, yeah, you got to play that after the kiddos go to bed. But my God, is that a great franchise? Oh, I grew up on that stuff. Now, let's get back to the. It's so good. Another question I have for you, Matt, is with all of these products or projects that you have at Thesis, Mezzo, TBTC, like, which one do you think is going to be the next breakout? Do you have a reasoning for that? Like, what are you most excited about right now?
Yeah, so funny. That's a funny question, right? Because on the one hand, like, which of your kids is your favorite? So like, obviously, oh, I love them all equally is one answer, which is true. But the way that I'm looking at this at Thesis is I want to build toward the future that I see. And mostly we're application builders. We've done some infrastructure, and we've done some applications, but we don't usually launch a chain. We don't usually launch stuff like that. And so the reason I'm excited about Mezzo is because now I can be an application builder building toward the future, which I think is right in a bigger way, which is never spend your Bitcoin. And I think a lot of the stuff that we wanted to build, it's like, okay, but will people do that with their Bitcoin? No one wants to spend it. No. So I think Mezzo for us unlocks everything else we want to build, right? It's like, so let's start with stuff that's simple. People can finance their homes against their Bitcoin. Fantastic. I mean, I call that simple. I know a lot of people think that's like big fancy stuff in TradFi, but it's not. It's not with DeFi. It's very straightforward. So I think Mezzo is going to be the thing. But then when I look at like what would I get excited about as a consumer, I mean, the next version of Lolly is going to be pretty fire. And I think for someone who's outside of Bitcoin, it feels really good for me to build stuff to bring people in. So I think economically, I think Mezzo is going to be the bigger impact because it's helping people
Yeah.
who want to buy homes and who want to have families. But I just love to see these folks joining crypto who thought, well, it's too expensive. I'm not early enough, and I love helping them with that.
That's amazing. And that kind of brings me to my next question. You love helping people, bring them in to the Bitcoin space, orange pilling them in your own way.
Yep.
In your opinion right now, what's the biggest thing people just aren't getting about Bitcoin, even though we're 15, 16 years in, it's 2025? What are people not understanding?
Yeah, I mean, oh, that's a great question. So like outside of the space, unit bias is a big deal. You have people who are really smart and who know a lot about finance still get confused about whether they can buy a partial Bitcoin. So there's a huge like educational like missing piece there. But inside the space, my favorite misunderstanding of Bitcoin is that you know what it is. So I used to say I thought I know what Bitcoin is. This is the point of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin loves to prove us wrong. The system is what it does, right? The system is what it does. Bitcoin is what it does. And it's not, oh, I think Bitcoin should be for, I think it should just be for money. I think it should just be for JPEGs. I think this, I think that. Bitcoin doesn't care what you think. That's why it's so good. That's what a neutral system looks like. Your opinion is irrelevant. And so it's like, oh no, I think Bitcoin is a Ponzi. Oh no, I think it's going to zero. Okay. It doesn't care. So I think that's honestly, it's my favorite part about Bitcoin from back in the days of getting deplatformed, right? It's like, it is FU money in a really core way. And that's powerful. And I think a lot of people don't understand, like, that's something you want to have in your life. You want to be able to walk away and say, no, we don't have much of a society if you can't. And that's what Bitcoin lets you do.
I love that. Having Bitcoin's kind of the power to say no to whatever you want. That's a really fun way to put it. And I've had plenty of people, my family for a long time too. My mom started watching the show and now she actually kind of is able to wrap her head around it. But people are always saying, what is Bitcoin backed by, right? Like, what is it? The way I've been explaining
I love that
it,
one.
and I would love to get your take.
Please,
right?
yeah.
The way I guess my best way is, it's the energy needed to provide a secure, decentralized network. And like maybe the value is in that energy needed to do that. There's probably a better way to go about it. And I feel like you might be one of the people to ask. What would you say?
I mean, there's so many. Yeah. So there's so many ways to look at it, right? And obviously you can pull out, Sailor's got some great truisms lately that are really catchy. I'll try to not plagiarize too hard, but like some of the ones that I like to think, Bitcoin is what we wanted gold to be, right? Mm-hmm. We use gold because we're not sure about current times. We're not sure about the state of the world. And so we've all just decided, and it's not because gold has utility. That's a lie that gold bugs tell you. Like, gold is barely used relative to like its actual price, right? People have decided this is where I want to save my money because I can put it around my neck and I can switch countries real quick. And that's huge. And so for me, I really like to use the gold explanation. I'm like, well, the difference is we're not going to find an asteroid or a new mine and have this thing, collapse. And it turns out, I think it's quite a bit harder to ban Bitcoin than it is to ban something like gold. So that's one, is I like to go the gold route. But then if they are interested in sort of like the future finance stuff, that's when I start saying, well, when was the last time you went to the bank? What did they say? Was it all just yes? And every once in a while, well, I tried to send a wire and then what happened? Oh, and then a fraud department got called and they said no. And then they, wait, is it your money or is it their money? And that's when people start to be like, it's not my money. Not really. At least I don't have control over it. So that's usually how I get people there, is like, you can talk about the grand vision of Bitcoin. You're always going to be wrong. But if you show people, well, yeah, this is the one place where I can move my money, this in cash, where no one can stop me. And then I think that starts to open people's eyes up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And as someone who's been in Bitcoin for a decade, you've seen most of the Bitcoin world evolve over the last 10 years.
Sure.
Are there any trends right now that are getting you particularly excited? The Bitcoin treasury plays, something else?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Let me give you a couple. So the treasury plays are, I think if you're outside the space, they're really interesting. If you're inside the space, they're pretty boring. I think it's great that we're expanding access, and I hope that these treasury companies have diamond hands. If they have diamond hands, then this is kind of the late stage game theory of Bitcoin working. So like I'm excited about that, but I'm an engineer and a founder. And so for me, it's like, well, that's some really great financial engineering, and that is some good game theory. But like, what am I going to get excited about? So when I get excited is I'm like, okay, well, now let's put those things back on chain. Now let's trade it against Bitcoin. Now let's trade it against a Bitcoin-backed stable. So I start to get like a little bit more interested when you can actually like keep these things trading over the weekend, and actually show some of the value of our space. But some other stuff I'm excited about. I'm excited about other assets on Lightning. I'm excited about Spark. I'm excited about Arc. Like we have some new approaches to different ways to use Bitcoin. BitVM 3. So there's a lot of tech that I'm interested in. I just think like the most important thing as an engineer turned business person is not the tech. The most important thing is people's changing relationship to Bitcoin and their changing relationship to their money. I hope that all of these people that have bought Bitcoin treasury companies bought in the ETF, I hope they don't learn the hard way what not your keys, not your coins means. And that's like the flip side of that. Yeah. So anything that helps people go from a brokerage account on chain, that's where I get excited.
I love that. And you are at the forefront of making that happen, my friend. And I can't tell you how much we, as all part of the Bitcoin community, thank you for your efforts. And we are like so freaking excited to see what you'll be working with next, including what you got going on now. And I'm sure there's a ton of people in our audience who may not have heard of Thesis or your other projects before. What's the best place for them to get more info if they want to learn more?
There's so many. If you are not a whole corner yet, if you don't have a lot of Bitcoin, you want to earn more, maybe just a little start, go to lolli.com. That's LOLLI.com. But if you have Bitcoin and you're realizing maybe you should have a decent lifestyle and maybe you should buy a house for your family you want to start, borrow against your Bitcoin. Geez, do not sell it even at the time. Just borrow against it. And you can do that at mezzo.org. Yeah. You don't have to have a counterparty. You don't have to ask anyone permission. You don't have to have a credit score. And we would love to help you get into a home. So yeah, please check us out.
That's amazing. And Matt, it's been such a pleasure talking to you today. I really love hearing all of your takes as someone who has just been so entrenched in the industry for so long. If other people in our audience too were interested in getting more of those, do you have an extra Twitter account that we could follow?
I do, yeah. My last name's hard. Yeah, but MH Luongo, MHLUONGO on Twitter or X, I guess. We'll all learn to say it eventually. Yeah, hit me up.
Amazing. Well, Matt, I got to tell you, thank you so much for your time today and joining us in the Blockchain Report. Next time you got another project launching, we got to have you back on because I could talk to you all day, my friend, and it's been an absolute
I'm sure
pleasure.
It won't be long.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me,
buddy. All right, well, you enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll be back with the Blockchain Report right after this break. All right, we're back with more Blockchain Report. Again, a big thanks to Matt LUONGO over at Thesis. Super interesting guy, and he's building some super incredible things over there, so make sure to check him out online. But let's get back to our stories of the day as Bitcoin's holding steady above that 121K mark, thanks in part to two companies buying the dip, or in this case, buying the non-dip. Metaplanet, based in Tokyo and apparently allergic to holding cash, just bought another 518 Bitcoin for around 61 million bucks at an average price of over 118K. That pushes their total stash to over 18,000 BTC, worth nearly 1.85 billion bucks. Their average buy price is around 102,000, which means they're sitting on a pretty tidy profit and probably sending Michael Saylor thinking of you cards and owe it to him. Metaplanet's BTC yield, which is basically their we own a lot score, hit 26.5% this quarter, following 41.7% in Q3 of 2024. And frankly, an absolutely absurd 310% in Q4 of 2024, 95% in Q1 of this year, and 129% last quarter of this year. They started in July of 2024 with less than 200 Bitcoin. Now they've got more coins than some small nations. all funded through stock acquisition rights and bond issuances. Now, between July and August of 2025 alone, they fired off multiple tranches of their 20th series of stock acquisition rights, ranging from 1.3 million to 9 million shares. Or in other words, they're financing their Bitcoin buys with moves so complex even Goldman Sachs probably had to grab a whiteboard. Meanwhile, Smarter Web Company bought 295 BTC for around $35 million, an average price of about $119 a pop, proving that even tech firms with web in the name know where the real internet money is. Public companies holding Bitcoin are now over 200 and climbing, which means we're officially at the corporate Hunger Games stage, only instead of weapons, the contestants are fighting over a fixed supply of 21 million coins. May the odds be ever in your favor, unless, of course, you're holding fiat, in which case, can't help you. It's time for Socially Awkward. Run the stinger. All right, and one of the more fun stories of the day, Elon Musk is threatening to sue Apple because apparently the App Store isn't showing enough love to his AI chatbot, and that is unacceptable behavior from a $1 trillion fruit stand. In a series of posts on X, the social media platform he owns and yells on, Musk accused Apple of favoring OpenAI's ChatGPT over his AI company, xAI. Specifically, he claimed Apple is making it impossible for any AI company besides OpenAI to hit #1 on the App Store, a claim he described as, quote, an unequivocal antitrust violation. That's right. The guy who once accused OpenAI of being too woke is now accusing Apple of being too loyal. His AI app, Grok, currently sits at #6 on the US iPhone top free apps list, while ChatGPT sits comfortably at numero uno, sipping tea and counting downloads. Musk also posted a pointed question to Apple, asking why neither X nor Grok appears in the must-have section of the App Store, even though, according to him, X is the most popular news app in the world. He then asked, "Are you playing politics? What gives?" which is Elon code for "Why am I not the main character of your platform?" Grok, the chatbot itself, because of course it tweets now, chimed in on X to accuse Apple's editorial team of bias, claiming they favor established AI like ChatGPT over innovative challengers like Grok. Here's actually another tweet from them. It's wild that Grok has its own Twitter account. "I'm now the 5th most popular app in the App Store, up from 56 last week." Well, it's certainly proud of itself. Now, Grok was also implying that there was an unfiltered style and it's being suppressed for political reasons because of it. So yeah, the chatbot thinks it's being censored. Neither Grok nor Musk provided any actual evidence for their claims, but to be fair, that's never really slowed them down before. This isn't Elon's first dance with Apple either. Back in June of last year, when Apple announced a partnership with OpenAI to integrate ChatGPT into its devices, Musk threatened to ban Apple products from all of his companies, including Tesla, SpaceX, and X, which would have made the office Christmas party really awkward for all those iPhone users out there. It's unclear whether he followed through, but given that Grok is still available on iPhones, probably not. Apple, for its part, is no stranger to legal heat. In April, a federal judge ruled that Apple had violated a court order to reform its App Store. That order stemmed from Epic Games' lawsuit, the Fortnite people, who argued that Apple was abusing its monopoly on iOS app distribution. And Apple, they lost. Separately, the EU hit Apple with a $570 million fine for blocking developers from steering users toward cheaper non-App Store options. Apple has since appealed that fine because, of course, they did. So, yeah, the App Store may have some skeletons in its closet, but is it personally trying to hold Grok down, or is this just Elon being Elon? Well, either way, the world's richest man has taken a break from launching rockets, selling flamethrowers, and tweeting memes to sue Apple for hurting its chatbots' feelings. If that doesn't scream 2025, then I don't really know what does. All right, so I think we're going to have to wrap it up for today's show, boys and girls. But as always, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Blockchain Report. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to RoxomTV and yours truly at Hank at RoxomTV on all platforms that matter. And we will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, same Bitcoin bedlam, right here on the Blockchain Report. We'll see you then. Sayonara.